Insider Frank Saravalli indicated that Jake Guentzel could be on the move and a third party could get a haul for retaining some of his money, and we have very good reason to believe that Montreal could very well be that team. We have to talk a bit about that. Plus, a note on Nick Suzuki, Juraj Slafkovsky top in the month of February for scoring, and how Jeff Gorton, well, we had a bit of a scare with him, but he said something that a lot of Habs fans are absolutely loving. So stick around for all of that on this episode of Habs Digest. Jesse, we're going to jump first into the Suzuki and Slafkovsky stuff. Slafzuki, I'm going to keep trying until something sticks. I don't know, some of these names, yesterday was Slafkovsky, today's is Slafzuki. Don't mind it. But take a look at this. Slavzilla.
No.
Slavzilla. Okay, we're not going to play the full thing. But, so here are the point leaders in the NHL since February 1st, okay? Pretty simple. Since February 1st, here are the point leaders. Look who's in the top 5. As you can see here, Nick Suzuki with 6 goals and 4 assists is second in the NHL behind only Connor McDavid, who among that 5-game stretch had a 6-assist game. He's second only McDavid in scoring in February, and you can see Slafkovsky down there, 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points in 5 February games. Yeah, their shooting percentages, if you look to the right, are maybe a little unsustainable, but regardless, they're finally clicking at the right time, Jesse, and it feels like maybe they are sustainable. Like, this line is just... It exudes chemistry, it exudes confidence, and it's turning into a legitimately elite top line.
The Montreal Canadiens have the hottest first line in the NHL right now since the beginning of February. It's amazing. Two-thirds of our top line right now are the top 3 in the NHL for getting points. And then we can't forget what also like Caufield is doing right now in terms of his point production. Like, it's amazing to see we got Slap right now, like, caught up with Rantanen in terms of his draft +2, production. He's now caught up with Hughes in terms of his production as well. Like, just all these amazing milestones really happening all at once right now. It's just really amazing to see. And Nick kind of stepping into that leadership role, because it's so important to be that leader both on and off the ice to really set the example for a lot of his peers, which are really young. But what's so amazing about this is, like, the Montreal Canadiens have been lacking that top first line for so long. So the fact that it looks like we have that now, and not just that, but really an elite one that we can put out against any other top line in the NHL due to the nature and what each specifically they kind of bring, each individual talents and how they complement each other so well. This chemistry is just growing day by day. And I expect this line, as they grow and develop together, again, such a great timeline, getting to Ken's, whole vision for this is like, they're just going to keep getting better and better. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, these guys are all under 25. Obviously, Slav doesn't even turn 20 until March, and Suzuki and Caufield are both under 25, both locked up for 7 and 8 years. So it's like if this line is already this good, imagine what they'll be like when they're all like around their peaks in 3-4 years from now. And maybe even then, Slav 3 years from now, Slav's going to be 22. That is bonkers. Like, I can't even comprehend that. But just amazing stuff. The fact that we're seeing Slav up there just makes us so happy. But it's time to move into the second thing, Jesse. We had a bit of a scare. Now, we didn't talk about this in yesterday's video because it was seemed like basically just a rumor. But today it was kind of confirmed that Jeff Gorton is not going anywhere, and I saw a lot of Habs fans kind of panicking, like, is Jeff Gorton going to go to Columbus to be the new general manager? Of course, the Columbus Blue Jackets firing Jarmo Kekalainen, bringing in John Davidson to run things for now. And there are lots of rumors saying that Habs VP of Hockey Operations Jeff Gorton was going to be the new Columbus Blue Jackets general manager, but a source close to the situation said as of now, Gorton intends to remain with the Canadiens to finish the job he started, and this was all confirmed by different sources today as well. So, Jesse, I know we had a bit of he's not going anywhere, right? Like, we kind of thought, no, there's no way. Really glad to see he's not, because to be honest, yeah, I think he would be amazing in Columbus. I think what he's done so far with Montreal has been great. Yeah, maybe some people can question his track record with the Rangers, is what it is, but at the same time, like, I couldn't be happier that he's like, no, I'm committed to the Habs. It's him, it's Kent, it's Marty. These guys, I think, are in it for the long haul.
It's a really nice compliment, in terms of, that being possibly a great position. But, really Jeff Gorton, he believes in the vision, that he set out. And really, he's not going to stop until he really sees that all the way through. So it's just really amazing to see how committed he really is just to this whole process. Of course, it kind of helps that, of course, he's such good friends with Kent Hughes and everything else. It almost makes me think, like, who's got the bigger, like, bromance going on, in your opinion, Josh? Is it Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, or is it Nick and Cole?
Oh, I mean, Oh, that's tough. It's got to be Nick and Cole. I mean, but you do see Kent and Jeff kind of walking around the streets of Montreal sometimes. But I mean, Nick and Cole, especially hearing from Nick Suzuki's girlfriend, like just how well they get along. I think it's got to be them, that bromance. We got like some subtle ones too, with like Slaf and Xhekaj sometimes and Guhle. You got this little group of guys, but no, I think it's Nick and Cole for now. But Gorton and Hughes, oh, I'm sure they've shared a steak dinner or two, looking into each other's eyes. So I can't wait to see what else they have in store for the future. But some of the future might be coming sooner than we think. I want to talk about this, Jesse, and I think this could be such a smart move. Now, let's just show this just for full transparency. As of right now, there are no rumors that Montreal is necessarily involved in this, but we'll explain our stance in just a second. So as Frank Saravalli tweeted out today, for the first time ever, a third-party broker netted a third-round pick last year in the Patrick Kane trade, being the Coyotes. He said if the Penguins' Jake Guentzel is ultimately on the move, an involved third party could get a haul to eat money. Well, now, where have we heard that before? Well, Montreal was one of the brokers in the Erik Karlsson trade that also involved the Pittsburgh Penguins. So clearly the teams have a solid relationship trading with each other. Not just that, there was a Matheson deal before. There's a lot of different stuff. And so Jake Guentzel, well, he only has this year left on his contract at a $6 million cap hit, and the Habs have one retention spot left. And after this year, again, Guentzel will be off the books after this year. Going into next year, Petrie is the only dead cap left there. So Jesse, I propose to you this. If Montreal can't, if maybe Kent Hughes thinks a trade's not going to happen for Jake Allen and they can't really use a retention spot on him, and let's say they want to keep David Savard, I think it makes like amazing, perfect sense to try and broker this Jake Guentzel deal. What do you think?
That's the plan B.
Yeah.
But for sure, the plan is ideally use this retention spot for Jake Allen. I believe that this trade still is going to happen before this year's trade deadline. That's kind of the ideal sort of situation, just because the asset you can get back, but more importantly, what it kind of frees up within your organization already as it is. But I mean, if this isn't panning out, like Kent has said, he's willing to kind of go to the summer. So if ever it's that type of situation, right, then it totally frees up to kind of do this type of move where maybe you're getting a third round pick, which is, you know, maybe similar to what you're getting for Allen. So it kind of makes sense to use that retention spot in very much the same way. There's a pretty sound logic. I would just, you know, very much think that there's a little bit more of an urgency to address the goaltender situation. But if not, you have to think that Kent Hughes is definitely thinking about pivoting to this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Hughes made it clear it's not fair to Allen or Primeau what's going on, but he also made it clear he's not afraid to go into the offseason because they can still move Jake Allen. Like, and the thing is, this Guentzel offer, well, again, this is Guentzel's last deal, like last year of his deal. So if he gets moved, it got to be now, or you can't broker this in the offseason. And if he decides, well, maybe it's worth my time to broker this now, and then if you use that retention spot on Guentzel, as far as I understand, you'll just get that retention spot back in the offseason when you try to move Allen, so you can still retain him for next year. But Jesse, let's go through the other people that Habs fans were saying maybe we could use a retention spot on. Let's just assume the market's not there for Jake Allen. Kent's not getting what he wants. He decides, no, I'm going to wait till the offseason. The other players that are often brought up are David Savard and Tanner Pearson. Now, David Savard, there have been a lot of rumors saying that the Habs want to keep him around for various reasons, and he might not be on the move, though we've seen some rumors of him maybe looking at other teams. But the other guy, Tanner Pearson, I think a lot of Habs fans are thinking, well, this is an expiring deal. It only makes sense to try and trade him. And Kent Hughes said, I don't like letting assets leave for nothing. But in my opinion, Jesse, I want to get your opinion on this too. If it came down to retaining in that Jake Guentzel deal, and, you know, acting as a broker sort of in that trade, do you think you'd get more for that if you're Montreal, or more for retaining Pearson's contract at half retained and try and moving him to a contender that could use his services? What do you think?
More for retaining Guentzel at this point in time, just because of Pearson's contract, unfortunately. It doesn't help with the injury, but if his points were up a lot more, obviously we could kind of justify this. A lot of teams are so tight right now. So just with his contract versus his production, obviously it's going to be a really hard sell. You're probably going to be holding on to a lot more salary than you would really like there. So for me, unfortunately, it seems like a little bit of a non-starter there. So, I mean, that's why you have to look for it. But this is why Kent Hughes wanted to keep this position open, why it's so important to have this flexibility. And again, it's so great that we're having a GM that always thinks ahead, that doesn't kind of put himself, you know, into compromising positions. He's always really thinking of the future, right? And you have to think that he's going to use this in some type of way to get an asset. You know, you have to think Allen's that first kind of priority right now, wants to do right by the player, which I think is almost an understated fact of all this as well. Allen being a vet, like Kent Hughes as a person, I feel wants to do right by him, put him in a situation to succeed. very much possible like Monahan. Obviously, if Allen's going, it's to a contender, right? But we'll have to see, the other effects of all of this.
Yeah, 100%. Now that Monahan thing, the fact that he managed to get a first without retaining anything on Monahan, that's going to pay big dividends. And like you said, I think he's going to try and use that spot. If he has the spot, he's going to try and use it. Like you said, I do agree that I think Allen, if he gets the trade that he wants for Allen, I think that takes priority over any kind of brokering deal. Because it frees up Primeau to play a bit more. It solves more than one problem. It doesn't just maybe net you a pick or whatever. Guentzel, retaining on Guentzel would get you maybe a fourth or something. It also frees up a goalie spot, which is very, very valuable for the team. So really, really interesting stuff. I'd love to hear from you guys down below. What do you think? Do you think the Habs could act as a broker in the Jake Guentzel trade? Because I think it makes perfect sense. Again, I think we're in agreement, though, only if the move for Allen doesn't seem like it's going to happen. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We are pushing for 11,000 subs, and I saw all your comments yesterday saying you stayed to the end. Trust me, I saw them. I saw them all, so thank you all for staying to the end. And if you're here at the end of this one, again, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.